we're now joined by Director of Track and Field and Cross Country, Rochelle Black. As the track and field teams get ready for their final tune-up before the Southland Conference Championship this weekend at the one-day Lenoir-Rhyne Classic, Coach, obviously with it being the last chance to compete before the conference meets, how much emphasis are you putting on the athlete's performance this weekend?
You know, this is actually similar to when we went to the JDL meet just before our indoor conference championships. A lot of the kids are hopefully fine-tuning a lot of the things going on. We have some people doing the events that we're projecting to do at our conference championships, and then we have some that are doing just odd events just to stay sharp. But for this week, this is the second time we've been there, so the objective is to continue to feel comfortable at the meet, know how the track feels at certain curves and certain points of the race, and just, again, become more comfortable with the venue itself.
You're basically a month and a half into the outdoor season, and it feels like it's gone a lot quicker than the indoor season did, and it probably feels that way for a lot of people. So how do you feel like the team has kind of developed as they head into this last meet, this last tune-up?
You're right. The indoor season is always a lot longer than our outdoor season. Our outdoor season always seems very condensed. When our outdoor season concludes at our conference championships, we're going to have about 5 or 6 weeks until our national championships should someone qualify. And saying that, I think the team's actually gelled pretty well. Going to practices, they're a little more upbeat, up-tempo. Last week, spring break, being able to go to the Georgia Aquarium and the World of Coke, that kind of, I think that was a fun time for them. They got to go around Atlanta a little bit and just relax. I think that really helped them in anything. When you're in college, when you're a student athlete, you've got the rigors of practice and studying. Last week gave them an opportunity to just worry about being an athlete and not worry about academics so much. So with that being said, this week and the next 2 weeks going into our conference championships, I think they're doing well. I think they've shown that they're a more cohesive unit.
Talk about that last meet at the Emory Classic. Obviously, you go there to compete against high-level competition, and your team performed pretty well overall. So do you feel like that was kind of a moment, or like a turning point where now you do kind of get honed in and focused for the conference championship?
Yeah, that was pretty much a halfway point, midway point for the season. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. Two people that really stood out for me. Jalecia, she ran a school record in the 100, and right now I think she's sitting at 9th, maybe 8th or 9th in our conference, which is big for a young woman like her. She's a freshman, so future looks pretty good for her. Jerica ran probably the best 4x4 leg I've seen her run since she's been here, and she's a sophomore, so we have more time with her. Some people weren't happy with how they did, and that's going to happen. You're not always going to have a PR, a personal record every week. There's going to be an ebb and flow. Some kids on the team did very well. Some went below their standards, but I think that's okay. As long as they're not content with that, we'll be fine.
With this being just a one-day meet, and again, just about 2.5 weeks away from the Southland Conference Championship, is the approach going all out, gutting it out, and really trying to get yourself in the mode of competing and racing and beating the person in front of you? Or is it more of just, again, kind of tuning up and making sure you're as fit as you can be for the conference championship?
Well, Coach Donahue and I don't want to make an excuse of, oh, well, this is just a tune-up, and it's okay if you don't do well. The objective is still to compete. When you hear your name called up for a field event, or they say run us to your mark, it's time for you to compete. Something I say a lot is the times don't bother me as much as the effort. If a person runs a horrible time, so to speak, and they put in a subpar effort, that's going to bother me a lot more than anything else. So we want them to go out there and be mentally prepared, which I think a lot of them are. Some of them are getting there. But the objective, go out there and compete. If someone's in front of you, go do as much as you can to pass them. If someone's behind you, make sure they don't get in front of you. That's track at its core is who can get to the line first, and that's what I want them to work on.
We talk about comfortability a lot in track and field, and you said this is obviously the second time you've raced here at this venue, this outdoor season, and you'll obviously be back there for the Southland Conference Championships too.
Yes.
So talk about the importance of kind of, again, getting comfortable on that track and at that venue.
Well, anytime you are comfortable, you don't have to worry about, well, what happens if what do I do if this happens? What do I do if that happens? Same with basketball. You put yourself in situations to where at first it may be unfamiliar, but the more you do it, the more you know, okay, this is how I handle the situation. And that's why we go to this place twice now, and the third time will be our conference championship. It's the same as when we go to ETSU during the indoor season. We tend to do very well there because we're used to going there. Since I've been there, we've gone there at least twice every year. So indoor, you have a different type track every time. Outdoors is always 400 meters, one lap. So in that, they are more comfortable with that, but we're not sleeping in our own beds. We're having to drive in a bus there. They're going to have to sit out in the sun or the rain or the wind, whatever the elements provide. They have to get used to that, and then they have to go out there and compete. If they can do that tomorrow and in 2 weeks, I think we'll do a lot better than they expect.